Hello dear students, welcome to the another session of the topic corrosion. We were learning about the protection from corrosion. In the last lecture, we have seen the sacrificial anode and impressed current cathodic method. In today's lecture, we'll see some other ways of protecting the metal from getting corroded. Let us start with electroplating or electrodeposition. The electroplating is a process of coating a superior metal over the base metal, that is the inferior metal, by passing direct current through the electrolyte containing the soluble salt of the coating metal. Electroplating is also known as electrodeposition or electroplated coating. The metals most commonly used in plating are copper, nickel, gold, silver, zinc, etc. The main purpose of electroplating is to improve the corrosion resistance of the metal. Example, chromium and nickel coated components, which are used in automotive applications. For aesthetic appearance of the metal and reducing the cost, for example, gold plated jewelry. To increase the thermal conductivity of the metal, for example, copper bottomed containers or vessels. To increase the tensile strength of the metal, for example, aluminium coatings. Let's understand the process of electroplating by taking the example of coating of copper. The coating metal, that is copper, or some inert metal like platinum or graphite, act as anode, and the article to be coated act as cathode. For example, cooking pan. CuSO4, copper sulfate, is used as electrolyte. It should be the solution with the soluble salt of coating metal itself. For example, here we are coating copper, so we will be taking electrolytic solution of copper sulfate. When direct current is passed, CuSO4, that is the electrolyte, first decomposes into Cu2 plus and SO4 2 minus ions. The Cu2 plus ions gets reduced at the cathode to form copper and is deposited on the article to be coated. As the copper ions are getting deposited, the electrolyte is getting deficient of copper ions, and in order to compensate the loss, the copper at the anode reacts with the SO4 which is present in the solution to form CuSO4 and with the release of 2 electrons, and hence it gets dissolved in the solution. Therefore, the copper is getting oxidized at anode. The electrons are released in the process of oxidation and it passes and reaches to the cathode. As the process continues, the copper keeps on dissolving. So, we need to periodically replace the anode near about from 1 to 2 hours. The portion of article which should not be coated needs to be covered by an insulator. But for example, in case of gold ornaments, the entire ornaments need to be coated completely. So we need to immerse the entire metal, that is gold, in the electrolytic solution. Now let's see the reactions taking place. At first, when direct current is passed through the electrolyte, that is CuSO4, it gets decomposes into its ions. CuSO4 gets decomposed into Cu2 plus and SO4 2 minus ions. At cathode, Cu2 plus ions get reduced to copper and gets deposited on the article. That is, the coating of copper is taking place at cathode. At anode, there may be 2 cases. Case number 1, if anode used is the coating metal itself. For example, here in our case, we have used the anode as copper. So the copper is getting oxidized to form Cu2 plus ions, and it reacts with SO4 2 minus and forms CuSO4 with the release of 2 electrons. Case second could be the anode which is used may be an inert metal like platinum, graphite, etc. In this case, the electrolyte has to be added to maintain the concentration of CuSO4. Whereas in the first case, we need to change the anode periodically. So this is the difference when anode which is used there is the coating metal itself, or the anode which is used is the inert metal like platinum, graphite, etc. So there are few factors which affect the electroplating, like temperature. High temperature favors electroplating. Concentration. High concentration favors electroplating. The distance between the electrode, that is, if the distance increases, the deposition decreases. Time. As the time increases, the deposition also increases. Current. That is, the current increases, the deposition also increases. Surface area of the anode, if it is increased, then the amount of deposition also increases. Now, let us see few advantages and disadvantages of electroplating. Advantages of electroplating are as follows. A corrosion-prone substance such as iron can be coated with a layer of non-corrosive material, thereby protecting the original material. So, it is used to protect the material also. Shine and luster can be imparted to the dull surfaces. That is, mostly it is done for decorative items. Instead of making the ornaments directly out of gold, that is pure gold or silver, which are very expensive, one can make them cheaper using the metals and by the process of electroplating, that is gold covering or gold plating. So this reduces the cost of ornaments also. Electroplating can also improve the mechanical property of metals. So these are the few advantages of electroplating. There are few disadvantages of electroplating as well. The disadvantages are, it is expensive because it is requiring electricity. It is time consuming also. Sometimes coating is uniform and sometimes it is non-uniform also. The electroplating bath, if it is disposed in the water directly, it may cause environmental pollution. That is, it may be responsible for water pollution. So there is also another process which is somewhat related to electroplating only, which is electroless plating. Now we'll move to the other process of protection from corrosion. The second important method to protect the metals from getting corroded is surface coatings. Iron and steel are the most commonly used construction material, as we know, because of their low cost, easily availability. Fabrication can be done into desired structures. The metallic coatings often used are zinc, aluminium, tin, copper, cadmium, chromium, etc. So iron and steel structures needs to be protected from corrosion. So how can they be protected? By using this metallic coatings over them. These coatings separate the base metal from the corrosive environment, thereby protecting the original metal from getting corroded. So the surface coatings basically falls under two categories, inorganic and organic. So this is the flow chart for protective coating, inorganic and organic. Amongst inorganic, again it is subcategorized into metallic and non-metallic coating. In the metallic coatings, example is the process is known as hot dipping process, which is covered in your syllabus. and we'll be learning about the two hot dipping process, galvanizing and tinning. And there is also another metal called, there is a method called metal cladding. Now next is non-metallic coating, surface or chemical conversion coatings. Organic coatings includes that is coating by paints, varnishes, enamels, etc. So let's start with anodic and cathodic coating. So anodic coating and cathodic coating will be explained by taking the example of galvanizing and tinning. So anodic coating is, the example is galvanizing. Here the coating of more active metal, that is the less standard reduction potential metal over the less active metal, that is the metal having high standard reduction potential, is done. For example, zinc coating over the copper. Amongst the cathode coating, that is example is tinning. The coating of less active metal, that is the metal with more standard reduction potential, is done over the metal which is having less standard reduction potential, that is the more active metal. For example, tin coating over copper, iron, etc. So we'll understand these two type of coating, that is galvanizing and tinning, in detail now. So the process which is used for galvanizing and tinning is termed as hot dipping. So what do you understand by hot dipping? That is, whatever material we are using for dipping process, that the temperature would be high. So the metal to be coated would be dipped in the solution. So therefore it is named as hot dipping. It is the process of coating the base metal, that is the metal with higher melting point, by dipping into the bath containing the coating metal, and the coating metal will have low melting point. We'll study two egg types here. Galvanizing, it falls under the category of anodic coating, and the second would be tinning, which falls under the category of cathodic coating. Let's start with galvanizing. What is galvanizing? So galvanizing is a process of coating the base metal, that is the metal with higher melting point, by dipping into a bath containing the molten coating, that is the metal with the low melting point. So the process involved in galvanizing can be understood by this diagram. The molten metal should be pure and the dipping time should be nearly 10 minutes. So as you can see here, there are various processes which needs to be done for the galvanizing. First process name is degreasing, rinsing, pickling, again rinsing, fluxing, drying, and then finally galvanizing, again cooling, and finally inspection. We'll see one by one these processes. The first process is cleaning. So for cleaning, that is cleaning the metal against dust, dirt, it is kept in the alkaline solution, and the process is called as degreasing process. So the first process is degreasing. Then the metal is rinsed in by using water bath. Then it is taken to the pickling process. Pickling process is dipping the metal with dilute HCl or dilute H2SO4, so that the oxide layer, if it is formed over the metal surface, gets removed. After the process of pickling, the metal is again rinsed by dipping it into the water bath. It is then taken for fluxing. It contains zinc, NH4Cl, ammonium chloride flux. It is done to prevent oxidation of metal before the galvanizing process takes place. The metal is then dried using hot air, because it should not get splashed out. That is, it should not create sound when we dip it in the hot galvanizing bath. Then it is dipped in the hot galvanizing bath, where the zinc coating takes place. In several coating layers, the zinc and iron diffuses and forms the zinc iron alloy of 5 layers. Then finally, after the process of galvanizing is completed, it is quenched by using water bath. By quenching, the topmost layer becomes very hard, and finally it is cooled and the components are now ready for inspection. So let us see once again the full entire process. The process includes degreasing, removal of dust and dirt, rinsing, that is washing in the water bath, pickling, that is removal of oxide layer by using dilute acids, then again rinsing back before fluxing is taking place. Now fluxing is done before galvanization process, which includes zinc ammonium chloride flux. And finally it is dried before the process of galvanization, and then it is galvanized by using zinc bath, and after the process of galvanization, cooling and inspection is being conducted. So this is the entire process of galvanizing. So let us now understand the surface preparation process. Majorly, the surface preparation process includes degreasing, which we have just seen, that is caustic treatment, which removes dirt, oil, grease, etc. present on the metal surface. Then the process of surface preparation happens by pickling, that is using dilute acid or H2SO4 in order to remove oxides and scales if they are present over the metal surface. Then fluxing is being done by using ZnCl2 and NH4Cl, that is a protective layer to prevent the oxidation of the base metal. That is, base metal will not get oxidized if fluxing is done. And finally, drying by using hot air, that is, it reduces the splash, that is, it should not produce sound, splashing sound when the process of galvanizing is taking place, and it also increases the dip speed. So this is how the surface preparation is being done. After the galvanizing process, the alloy formation takes place. So the alloy, which is now the galvanized coating, contains the 5 different layers as shown in the figure. The base steel forms the base layer or the bottom layer. Then gamma, then delta, zeta and eta layers are formed. So it is depending on the names are having the different concentration. Like suppose we'll take example of eta. It is having 100% zinc. Zeta, it is having 94% zinc and 6% iron in it. Delta, it is having 90% zinc and 10% iron. Gamma is having 75% zinc and 25% iron. And finally, the bottommost layer, that is base steel, it contains 100% iron. So as we go on seeing the layer from bottom to top, the composition of iron and zinc is changing. So now the process of galvanizing is over. Now let's see few uses of galvanization. The process galvanization is widely used for protection of iron and steel from getting corroded, and it is used in the form of steel wires, GI pipes, that is galvanized iron pipes, nails, screw, nut bolts. It is used in steel frames and rooftops, as well as for making door frames. It is used in domestic applications also, like in washing machines, hair dryers, trimmers, and various other parts of few components. Then, like for computer also, it is also used in highway signals, high tension electric towers, and there are many more applications of the process of galvanization. There are few advantages of galvanization and few disadvantages also. Let's see first the advantages of galvanization. It is resistance to environmental impact, high maximum operating temperature. So it is having like high coating strength, the galvanized metal. The galvanized metal also have high wear and tear resistance and warranty period up to more than 70 years. But the process also suffers from few limitations. That is, the treatment sometimes it is tough to do manually. Then the galvanizing the element separately without dismantling it is little impossible. The deformation of thin structure because of heating takes place. The damaged coating cannot be repaired easily. So these are the few limitations. Galvanized containers can't be used to store food. The point to be noted is the galvanized containers cannot be used to store food stuff. Why? Because the zinc is coated over the metal in the process of galvanization. So here the zinc may get dissolved, especially under acidic conditions. That is, the food which is acidic in nature will tend to dissolve this zinc and food may get poisoned. So galvanized containers are not used to store food stuff. So now let's see the next application of metallic coating, or that is hot dipping, and the process is named as tinning. It is again a type of hot dipping process only. The tinning is a process of coating the base metal, that is metal with higher melting point, by dipping into the bath containing the molten tin. Because the process is tinning, so tin is being used. So tin is again coated over some other metal and the process is named as tinning. Let's see the process. Here it is the tinning process. Suppose mild steel sheet. This is the mild steel sheet which needs to be tinned. So mild steel sheet which is pre-treated is once again pickled by using dilute acid, that is HCl or H2SO4, similar to that of galvanizing. Because it may have developed some kind of oxide layer, even pre-treatment is being done. This is all the process which includes pre-treatment. Pre-treatment before pickling is also done. But to make sure that the metal does not contain any oxide layer before the tinning process, once again the pickling process, that is treatment of the metal, that is mild steel, the metal to be tinned, is done by using dilute acid, that is maybe HCl or H2SO4. It is then passed through the timming bath through ZnCl2 flux. Then it goes into the coating over the steel. The coating is done over the steel. Suppose the steel needs to be coated with tin, then it then passes through the next container having again the zinc flux, but here the temperature is little low as compared to this zinc flux container, and the difference is it has the oil or grease layer over it. So now what happens? It passes through this zinc flux and the coating is being done. So now it also acts as a wash pot for the coated zinc, that is metal, which is now coated with the tin. It passes through the squeeze roller now. So squeeze rollers are here placed. So it passes through the squeeze roller in order, because this is the zinc flux in which the metal is being now coated up. So through squeeze rollers, it needs to be passed through the last tank which is containing oil or grease. Why it needs to be passed by the squeeze roller? They also play an important role, because if some extra zinc is being coated, let us say, so the extra zinc will get removed by the roller, and if we want to adjust the thickness of the layer of the zinc, that also can be done. So now the tin coming out is coated with the zinc coating to avoid the oxide formation, because now again oxide formation may take place. So what is being done here? Because in order to avoid that oxide layer, we will be coating it with the oil or grease. This is the function of oil or grease. Finally, we'll get the tinned steel. So now this tinned steel can be used, and it can be prepared by the process of hot dipping, that is the tinning process. So the surface treatment here also will take place, or it is called as pre-treatment, which includes pickling, annealing, cold rolling, and again annealing. Annealing means cooling down very slowly, is called as annealing. So here pickling is done by using dilute acids. Annealing, it is heated for hours and then slowly it is cooled down. It removes the greenish black slime which is a coating over the metal surface. Then it is cold rolling is done by the by the help of rollers. Then again annealing, that is heating and cooling down slowly in order to remove any strain hardening if it is there. So this is the process of tinning. So now let's see few uses of tinning. Tin coated iron or steel articles or utensils are used for storing and preparation of food stuff, which we have seen in the process of galvanization. That is, galvanized materials cannot be used to store food stuff, but tinned material or steel articles or utensils can be used to keep the food stuff, because it is not uh, causing corrosion or the production of any harmful substances. So again, few other uses includes the use in automotive, food services, electrical and electronics, telecommunication, medicine, energy, and making jewelry. There are few advantages and limitations of this process of tinning. Advantages includes it improves corrosion resistance of especially iron and copper. It is used for soldering the metals. It is resistance welding can be done by using this. It prevents oxidization of copper and its alloys. It is having the good wear and contact properties. It is less porous, more ductile, and more economic. Few limitations of the tinning process includes high strength steel is sensitive to hydrogen embrittlement, that is cracking. Under certain conditions, whisker growth may take place, may appear from this thin layer, and thickness is not very well controlled by this process. So with this, we have seen the two process of hot dipping. First one was galvanizing and the second is tinning. So here are few differences between these two processes, that is galvanizing and tinning. So dear students, please go through these differences. Now, metals can also be protected by applying few organic coatings. For example, they can be painted. So, paints have like their own advantages, and there are few constituents which makes the paints. That is the composition of paint. It is pigments, and dry oil is there, thinner are used, dryers, extenders, plasticizers, anti-skinning agents. So these are the process by which paint is being made, and paint can also be used like a coating material. Last and the third process of protection from corrosion is control of corrosion by modifying the metal itself. So we need to select the metal. We should use pure metals. By the process of making alloys, it can be done. That is, we have modified the metal. By using proper design also it can be done. So few rules for designing are being included here. So the important rules for designing includes drainage affects corrosion, as we know that. So tanks and other containers must be designed in such a way that the whole of the liquid should be drained off completely. and we should avoid sharp corners and bends while designing. We should avoid services, that is because they allow moisture and dust to settle. We can see the modification of metal by this image, like this. This is service, this is undesirable, this is filler, this is desirable. Thin coat, undesirable. Uniform coating is, if it is done, it is desirable. So in this manner, we can see that if we change something, we do the modifications in the while making the metal, so then also we can avoid corrosion. So dear students, this is where we'll end the lecture. So we have seen the process of corrosion, the different types, and the methods to protect the corrosion. Thank you.